We are in 1979. The newly appointed president has called his fellow party members to a meeting in the Al-Quld Hall in Baghdad. His name is Saddam Hussein. He's only been president for a little under a week. But Iraq is his, and he wants everyone to know. It's July, and the temperature outside is clocking 50 degrees Celsius. The auditorium is hot, blazingly hot. As Saddam stands at the podium, he takes his time, rearranges his papers, looks at his documents. Shortly before the recently appointed president arrived, one of his men appeared on stage. A terrible plot against the president and against Iraq has been uncovered, he informed the crowd. A group of high-ranking party officials have conspired to remove Saddam Hussein from power. And then he revealed, all the guilty members are in this room, right now. And now, the crowd sits frozen in silence. The commander-in-chief of the Iraqi armed forces is in total control. Then, Saddam calls a man to the stage, and a tall, slender man with a monk's cut starts walking towards the podium. His name is Muhi Abdul Hussein Mashhadi. He was the former secretary to the previous president. But just a while ago, he had opposed Saddam in a meeting. It was a mistake. With sweat running down his face, he nervously adjusts the microphones, and then, slowly, he begins confessing to crimes of wanting to oust Saddam. Meanwhile, Saddam takes a seat by a long table full of microphones and lights a cigar. I was the one behind the plot against the new president, the man says. It was me who tried getting others to join in. But it's a lie. Nothing of what he admits is true. What has really happened is that he has been thoroughly tortured and told that if he doesn't go up on that stage and say that he planned the plot against Saddam, the torturers will sexually abuse his wife and daughter right in front of him. He has no choice but to comply. And so he does. To save his family, he lies about his own and his fellow party officials' involvement in the plot to overthrow Saddam's new regime. Once he is finished, Saddam takes the stage. Again, Saddam isn't in a hurry. He lights his thick Cuban cigar, and then he asks out into the room, what means should be used against these traitors? You know the answer, he says. There is no other way than the sword. The terrified party members in the hall begin to applaud nervously. Saddam then gives an order to those gathered in the hall. When I have called out your name, you shall stand up, recite the party's motto, and exit the hall. And so, he begins reading out names.
طاهر أحمد أمين, إسماعيل إبراهيم النجار, بدن فاضل, ماجد عبد الستار.
One by one, they must rise from their seats, say the motto, and then they are led out of the hall. They haven't been told where they are going or what's waiting for them on the other side of the door, but they probably have an idea. Most of them, though, reluctantly do as they are told. One man, however, is clearly confused at his name being called. Me? I haven't done anything, he says. Saddam doesn't even bother to look at him. Saddam repeats, when I have read out your name, you shall stand up, recite the party's motto, and exit the hall. The man complies. Saddam continues until he has called out 68 names. He smiles and thanks those remaining in the room for their loyalty. And then everyone stands up and once again begins a desperate standing ovation. Whew! Some unclench their buttocks. Outside the hall, all the people whose names Saddam has called out are gathered in trucks and driven to prison. In the following days, 68 trials are held. 22 men are sentenced to death. Saddam has appointed a number of executioners to complete the task of carrying out the executions. They are all members of the Ba'ath Party, his party, and none of them are executioners. They are then gathered in the building where the plotters allegedly should have laid their plans to overthrow Saddam's new regime. And then the condemned are dragged out into the compound where they are forced to their knees and blindfolded. Each of the executioners is then handed a weapon and assigned a victim. And then, one by one, Saddam's former friends and fellow party members are shot. Some executioners are so scared that they miss and need to shoot their victims several times. It's gruesome, but Saddam is very satisfied. An excellent start to his presidential career, he thinks to himself. And so, the first official order of the newly appointed president of Iraq has been effectively carried out.